Recently, there's a consistent set of questions I'm getting from a lot of people, and they want to know, what does the future of real estate look like? Are we in a housing bubble? Is there going to be a crash in the future? Should I wait a year or so to buy in anticipation of prices going down? Or should I buy right now because prices could still be going up and they might regret it in the future? So today I want to tackle all of these questions, give you my 2 cents on all of this. Now, of course, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't say 100% for certain this is what it's going to look like. And if I could, I'd be a pretty wealthy woman. But I want to give you my thoughts on this based on my experience, based on research and all of that. And then it's up to you to make the final decision on what are the best choices for you. Hi, I'm Jill Thomas, and each week I bring new videos about living in Sarasota, Florida, moving to Florida, what it's like to be here, and then of course, all things real estate. So if this is where you're at, if you've been thinking about making this big move and maybe to Florida or to this area, then this is the channel for you. So be sure to tap that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, and keep on watching. And as I mention in every video, please feel free to give me a call, text, or email me if there's anything I can help you with. I know for certain there's got to be a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty if you're going to be moving from another area to here possibly. So I'm here to help you out, check with you, help you sort through some of your feelings and emotions and thoughts. So again, you can make the best decision for yourself. I'm recording this video in May of 2021, and boy, have things changed since the first of this year. Interest rates are still really low, demand for buying properties are high, and then inventory, of course, is very low throughout the country. It's just not your region where things might be selling fast. It's happening everywhere. In the month of April, on a national level, from year over year, from April of 2020 to today, 2021, the list prices, the median list price for homes have gone up 17.2%. So as you can see, this is a national thing. It's just not a regional or a state situation. So in this video, I want to give you some things to think about so you can make really good, educated, wise decisions for yourself. Number 1, this isn't 2005. As many of you know, back in the mid-2000s, 2005-ish, we had a housing bubble and then a crash. But what was going on then is not what's going on now. So it's not the same scenario. Back then, lending practices were much more loose. Today, things are stricter. So it's an apples to oranges thing. It's not apples to apples. So first of all, I want to mention that. Number 2, supply versus demand. Right now, we do have a historically low inventory issue. We have very little supply and we have demand, whether people want to move across the country or just across town. And so that's where our problems are coming from. That's really pushing up the prices. In our area, in the Sarasota, Manatee County area, for single family homes in the month of March, we have less than 1 month of inventory. So what that means is if no new properties come on the market, we're not going to have any listings at all in less than 4 weeks. So as you can see, that's what's bringing up these prices and causing these changes even just in the last 4 or 5 months. Number 3, cash buyers. There are a lot of cash buyers out there, and as a result, it doesn't really impact the ability of people to hang on to a property in the future, even if prices were to go down. So people don't feel like they're underwater or they're gonna owe more on the property than what it's worth. And specifically in Sarasota and Manatee counties, in the month of March, the percentage of cash buyers were anywhere from 40 to 75%, broken down between single family homes and then condos and townhomes, villas. So that's insane. I think it was in Manatee County, just for homes, 75% of those buyers paid cash. That is mind-boggling. So what does that mean, at least on a local level, not so much on a national level? Well, what that's saying is we're probably not going to see as many distressed properties in the future because they are paying cash. So they don't have issues with paying back a mortgage and so forth. That eliminates that altogether. So we do see a lot of cash buyers. Now, some folks, they can pay cash right now. And then after they close, they can turn around and finance the property if they want to take advantage of those lower interest rates. So that's always an option, but then it just makes their offer a little bit more competitive if there are multiple offers on a property that they want to purchase. Number 4, foreclosures. So speaking of distressed properties, I get a lot of people asking me when we're going to see the market flood with foreclosed properties or short sales. And the reason why they're asking this is, thinking that, okay, because of COVID, if there are some folks who have struggled with making payments, are they going to get foreclosed on? And when are we going to see those properties hit the market? Now, some homeowners who are struggling with those payments might be working with their lender to do a loan modification or deferment, where they can hold off and maybe skipping some payments and paying at the end of the life of the mortgage. So they're trying to do that. But now for those folks who maybe can't work that out for some reason, those are the ones that may get foreclosed on. And so those are the listings that we could potentially see in the future. So I always get asked, okay, when's that going to happen? And I had somebody the other day ask me, we're going to see in October or by the end of the year? And my answer is, I don't think so. And this is why. I got licensed back in 2008. So that was after the bubble had burst. If I knew then what I knew now, honestly, I don't know, it was a pretty rough time to get into this industry, but I learned a lot. So at least back then, the banks weren't prepared for all of those foreclosures. The systems weren't set up. They didn't have the manpower. They were switching people from one department to another and quick teaching them this is how we're going to deal with all of these foreclosures. And then I personally know even some people who did strategic default where they stopped paying their mortgage for whatever reason, whether they really couldn't pay it or maybe they had some other plan up their sleeve, but the banks, the lenders weren't kicking them out of their homes for 2 to 4 years. So they were living in their home, rent or mortgage free, for that whole time before the property actually hit the market. So assuming that the bank's systems and processes aren't much different or aren't any better this time around, assuming that we are going to see some foreclosures, my assumption is we're not going to see a whole lot happening for a couple of years. And they might start trickling in with those foreclosures and some short sales, but I don't think all of a sudden this year in 2021, we're gonna get a flood of those distressed properties hitting the market. Now back then, and even now sometimes, people will want to help the banks out by cutting through some of their processes and saying, hey, listen, I can see that this house has already been foreclosed on or there's a list pendens against it. So they're starting that foreclosure process. I think I really want to buy that house. So I want to contact the lender directly and see if I can buy it. Well, back in 2008, 2009, 10, I did that. And then after a while I gave up and I would just give customers the phone numbers to call because I was able to look that up and say, just call and ask yourself. But really in the end, they don't give us the time of day. They don't give me the time of day. They won't give you the time of day because they still have their processes and procedures of how they handle these distressed properties. They've got to go through certain channels before they do it and the property goes on the market, goes into the MLS, and then that's your opportunity to purchase it. Now, a lot of times people would say, well, that makes no sense. Why is the bank wasting time and money for maybe taking care of the property, mowing the grass, or eventually they have to pay off the taxes or association dues or something like that. I'm saving them money and I totally get it. It makes sense. But the one thing that's consistent about all foreclosures and short sales is logic is out the window and they're consistently inconsistent. Even the same bank might treat two properties differently, and it really sometimes depends on who's handling the file, who's taking care of that. Because again, like I said before, they were taking people from some departments that were in less demand because there were less sales. So maybe somebody who was a processor now is all of a sudden dealing with foreclosures. So that's a whole big animal, these distressed properties. So I think in time, it might help with some of the demand as people are foreclosed on, which is a sad thing. And I kind of say all this really quick and flippantly. And so it's not that I don't have a heart for these folks, but it's just the reality of the bigger situation here. So I think it might help with bringing some inventory to the market, but I wouldn't depend on that anytime soon. I think it's going to be a little while before we start to see those properties hit the market. Number 5, new construction. Now back in January, I did a video about maybe what the real estate market would look like in 2021. And I knew demand was going up and inventory was low. And back then I said, you know what though, but we've got a lot of new construction in our area, so that's gonna help with keeping that balance. Well, right now it's not helping as much because I think the demand is even higher. The inventory for resales is even lower. So then the demand for the new construction is really high. And then the dilemma that the builders are having is getting materials. They're falling behind because of high demand. They just can't build it fast enough. And of course, you don't want them to build the homes too fast because you want them to do a good job, but then also getting materials. So I've got somebody who had a house sit for 5 weeks because they were waiting for the framing. And then it sat a while because they were waiting for windows before they put in the drywall. And so there was a delay after delay. So everybody's frustrated with all of that, but that's just reality of it right now. So new construction is out there for sure. It's not helping as much as what I was hoping at this moment, but here we are. Number 6, conclusion. So what does all this mean? Let's tie it all together and make something more tangible for you so you can make good decisions. I don't anticipate the buyer demand going down. People still want to move to Florida in high numbers right now. So unless something changes with that, it could change locally a little bit, but let's assume that that demand doesn't go down. So, but people are going to continue to put properties on the market, and then as new construction, the builders are able to start to kind of catch up and work within our, like I said before, this new normal, this new system of trying to get the job done. It's going to help a little bit, but I think things are just going to settle. I don't really see prices going down, especially to pre-COVID prices. And then if interest rates go up, then that's gonna, buyers are gonna lose a little bit more purchasing power. So then they're not gonna be able to, again, unless just people continue to pay cash, they just can't afford those higher numbers. You know, they just can't afford it. So then that might help with keeping things settled so they don't go too crazy. So with all that in mind, I think that we're not gonna go backwards a whole lot. I know the old saying is what goes up must come down. I don't think it's really going to come down a whole lot. I just don't see that happening. So if you do buy now and you think, oh my goodness, am I overpaying? Am I paying these inflated prices, especially if you're getting a loan? I don't think you're going to see yourself being underwater in a year or two from now. You're not going to be going backwards with all of that. I think we're going to be okay. It's just very frustrating right now for buyers to get a property. So what do you think? Do you agree with me? Is there something I failed to mention that should also be factored into all this formula, this decision making? Now, I've certainly talked with people who really think that we're going to have a crash at the end of 2021 or earlier in 2022. They just don't think this is sustainable. We can't keep up with it. And you know what? Hey, they may be right in the end. I don't want to argue with people, or, you know, and I'm open to other people's opinions and thoughts. In the end, I just want to provide information to you, and I'm sure that you are, if you're watching this video and you're still watching it right now, you're watching other videos, you're reading articles, you need to take all this information that you're bringing in and then also combine it with your needs and goals. And then from there, that's the way you're gonna make the best decision, because everybody's needs are so different. So you need to make those decisions that are best for you based on all this information that you're bringing in. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like button. And then as always, give me a call. If you want to discuss this further, pick my brain a little bit more about what's going on here in my area, in the Sarasota, Bradenton area on the west coast of Florida, then please give me a call. I'm here to help you out. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.